이슈와 뉴스 속에 숨어있는 의미를 파헤쳐보는 코인 인사이트, 저는 MC를 맡은 이은주입니다. 새로운 시대의 파생상품 거래는 어떤 모습일까요? 지금까지 선물 거래가 중앙화된 거래소 중심의 구조였다면 최근에 파생상품 시장은 조금 더 사용자 친화적으로 변해가고 있습니다. 오늘 코인 인사이트에서는 탈중앙화 파생상품 거래의 새로운 패러다임을 제시한 프로젝트죠. 신퓨처스를 집중 조명해보려고 하는데요. 거래소 없이 선물 거래를 가능하게 하고 누구나 마켓을 만들 수 있는 개방형 설계, 그리고 자체 레이어 1 메인넷까지 다양한 기술을 접목한 미래 파생상품 시장을 만드는 프로젝트라고 합니다. 누구나 직접 거래 시장을 만들고 유동성을 제공하고 또 그 보상을 온전히 가져가는 구조는 현실화될 수 있을까요? 신퓨처스 프로젝트가 그리고 있는 미래의 선물 거래는 어떤 모습일지 마크리 신퓨처스 공동 창립자 모시고 조목조목 짚어보도록 하겠습니다. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. For those who may not be familiar with you, could you briefly introduce about your project and team?
Sure. So the project is called Synfutures, and we're a global derivatives trading platform. So we provide both the infrastructure and the end user trading app. What we try to deliver is the futures markets in a fully decentralized way based on blockchain technology. So what this means is users can use Synfutures to take a long or short position, which means you're either betting on the price going up or going down, and you can manage risk with leverage and look for ways to create some speculation opportunities as well as hedging risk. We've been around for about 4 or 5 years now, and we started off as this trading app, but we've recently started expanding into the infrastructure side. So we're now offering our infrastructure, our trading infrastructure, to other builders. So I think we're becoming this global derivatives layer for blockchain-based trading.
I see. It's already been like 4 to 5 years, but many viewers know future trading through traditional exchange still. So compared to those markets, what are the main advantages of trading on Synfutures?
I think traditional markets, futures markets already play a very big role. They provide the trust and scalability for any kind of market, right? I think where products like our Synfutures, a DeFi derivatives product, comes into play is we offer a more accessible alternative. So I think what we do differently than traditional exchanges is we provide access and availability. What this means is we're open to everybody, right? Whereas traditional exchanges, you're often limited by geographic. So American users can only use certain types of products, maybe South American users or Venezuelan users, Argentinian users, they can only access certain types of products. DeFi aims to kind of open that up so that anyone can use it. So that's the access part. The other part is availability. Most traditional markets run on very limited hours. So US equities market runs from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
With DeFi, we aim to open that up 24/7. And that makes sense because we live in a truly borderless world and markets are always on, right? And I think market participants, traders, market makers, whatever it is, they need to be able to respond 24/7. And so I think that's the piece that DeFi brings. The other benefit, I think, is transparency. So everything that happens on Synfutures and for blockchain apps in general are fully on-chain and transparent. You can see what's going on. And so TradFi markets have historically been a little bit opaque, meaning it's hard to see what's actually going on the back end. But with blockchain, it makes it very visible and it brings a high level of trust. And I think the final benefit is self-custody, which means a user gets to control their own assets. As a DeFi product, we don't take custody of users' assets, funds, money, whatever you want to call it. It's all managed by the code. And this is important because for anyone who's been in crypto for a while, they may have seen the FTX collapse. They were not able to get their funds out for many, many years, and some are still waiting for their funds. And so it really shows the importance of you being able to control your own money. For people who aren't as familiar with crypto products, maybe they've had an experience where they've been locked out of an account somewhere, or they haven't been able to access some funds in some platform. this should never happen in DeFi, and this is one of the problems that we aim to solve.
I see. You mentioned a lot of positive sides on DeFi sector, and DeFi is also growing really big and fast. Then in this competitive environment, what sets Synfuture apart from them?
When we first got into this DeFi derivative space in 2021, I think we were relatively early. We were one of the first, what we call perp dexes in the market. Since then, the market has really changed, and this is a testament to the market opportunity, right? Now there are dozens and dozens of perp dexes on the market, new ones popping up every single day. And so I think the industry has become a little bit commoditized, just specific to trading apps. What we try to do different now is, most people focus on just one single trading platform, right? I think we're now focusing not just on the end user experience for trading, but we're continuing to build out this core trading engine, our infrastructure, to make it available to many different participants, whether it's builders, existing projects that want to deploy perp-like features or some kind of trading features. And so I think we've become a much more robust of a platform. Some of the other things I think we do differently is from day one, we've always adopted this truly open market functionality. What that means is we allow anyone to come and create a market on their own with no permission needed. And even in DeFi, I think that's quite rare.
I see. But person like me, I use more than 10 CEX for trading, but still I feel a bit difficult to enter the DeFi scene. So for a person like me, I would like to know, how does trading on Synfuture actually work? And could you explain the basic structure in the way that traditional investor can easily understand?
Yeah, I think this is a two-sided problem.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, the first is getting in. I think today, blockchain is still quite complicated to use compared to a traditional application. We're working to solve that with the rest of the industry. Right now you need to set up a decentralized wallet, transfer funds from a centralized exchange. Then you have to connect to an app. You have to probably sign the transaction multiple times. And so one of the things we're doing is we're creating one-click trading, which means it should work just like any other app on the App Store, right? You sign in with your social or social media login, email login, phone number, whatever you want to choose. It generates a wallet on the back end. And all of these on-chain actions should be abstracted away. That's the vision for the future of our product. From the perspective of a trader, it's very similar to traditional futures trading, right? You take a long or short position, you pick your leverage, and you manage your margin and your liquidation risk. Where there are some nuances, traditional futures markets are dated, which means when you pick a futures product, they usually have an expiry date. In crypto, what's unique is that we have something called perpetual futures, which means the markets continue to roll over indefinitely. It gives you a lot more flexibility because now you're no longer locked into a specific date period, which is true in traditional futures, but even other derivatives products like options. So that's kind of the gist of how it works. There are other ways to get involved in perpetual futures market in crypto that you couldn't in TradFi markets. Like you could play the role of, let's say, what we call liquidity provider, right? That means ensuring there's sufficient availability for people to fulfill orders, and you get rewarded for that. In TradFi markets, this is not possible for like an average retail user to get involved. But I think those are some of the core kind of advantages.
I see. And you also mentioned about create a market. Then what does creating a market exactly means? How does it work?
Yeah, it's something we call permissionless markets. Taking a step back, so in TradFi markets, if you want to list a new stock, a new futures or options market, it requires some permission from some centralized entity. Sometimes it's the exchange, sometimes it's the brokers, whoever it is, there has to be some decision made internally. And it's not something that market participants like traders can make. The beauty of DeFi and blockchain in general is we get to really rethink market design, right? So with blockchain, we can enable anyone to create a market on their own. So Synfuture, for example, anyone can say, I wish I saw this tokenized equity or this altcoin on the market. if they believe there's some demand for this trading pair,
Yeah.
they can come and list the asset themselves.
So anyone can list it.
Exactly. It does require some kind of assets up front to provide the initial liquidity, but the idea here is let's create these organic markets, right? Let's not let the centralized entities decide what you want to trade. Let's let the market decide.
And I heard that you guys are preparing to launch your own blockchain, which is a very good news for a blockchain project. So we would like to know that what led to this decision and what benefit or changes should users and developers expect?
So I think up till now, we've really focused just on the trading side, but we realized there's a lot of limitations in the blockchain that we build on top of. I think the best example I can use is recently Ethereum founder Vitalik came out and he said Ethereum was never designed to be fast and efficient. It was designed to enable financial freedom, right? And I love that because he took a stance on his project and what it was created for. And we've built on top of Ethereum before. We've built on top of Ethereum L2s, and we believe in Ethereum as the core security layer.
Okay.
But derivatives trading is quite demanding. You need flexible infrastructure. You need high throughput, which means faster transaction speeds, more processing and things like that, that you can't get from Ethereum. You can think of it as like a highway, right?
Yeah.
If a blockchain, a general purpose blockchain like Ethereum is a highway, yes, it works well, but then there are periods of high traffic. Let's say, we're in Seoul right now, it's Friday and it's 5 p.m. There's going to be massive traffic, right? For us, building a chain is like introducing a dedicated expressway, right? Just for derivatives trading. This gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of speed. It gives us cost predictability, which is very important. And it gives us a lot more efficiency that we can pass on to users. So I think creating a new chain is more about enhancing the existing user experience than creating another general purpose chain.
I see. Then when is it happening then? Do you guys have like exact launching dates?
Yeah, I think it should be Q1, Q2, sometime around Q1, Q2. We're doing some testing right now, and we're thinking about the rollout. We have to move off of, we're currently on Base right now, and we're one of the most active perp dexes on Base, but we have to think about bridging users and assets over to this new chain. So I think it may take at least a couple of months, but yeah, our tech team is working very hard to make sure it's a very seamless transition.
Wow. It's gonna be huge, guys, so you guys have to stay tuned for this. And I heard that Synfutures has your own builder program. What is it?
Yeah, so it's called the Synfutures Builder Program. The idea came about because we've been building this amazing trading infrastructure for 4 or 5 years now, and our tech team has put in so much work. We've weathered many different market cycles, so many market crashes, long periods of volatility, and we've come out of it relatively, I'd say definitely unharmed. Our users' assets were always safe. Our platform always executed as it was supposed to. We started getting demand from other builders who said, how can we work with Synfutures to deploy our own perp features or to build out our own DEX, right? Because building out a perp DEX is a very cost-intensive, cost and resource-intensive experience. I mean, we've been working on it for 5 years with a dedicated team of dozens of developers. To build this like resilient and scalable DEX is not something that's very simple, but we want to make it more accessible to builders. And the reason is we think derivatives markets are probably the backbone of the financial infrastructure. They play a big role in things like price discovery and hedging, and even just creating new speculation opportunities for market participants. So it's a very key feature, and we want to make sure we provide it not only through the Synfutures platform, but through our builder ecosystem. One example of this is we recently launched something called Monday Trade.
Monday Trade.
Yeah.
So you're only trading on Monday?
No. The idea behind the name actually is that every day in DeFi is a Monday. Mondays are very important for TradFi markets because it's closed during the weekends. So everyone reacts Monday morning at 9:30 a.m.
Active
right?
day. during
The idea here is when you use a DeFi product like Monday Trade, markets are always reacting like it's a Monday morning, right?
Okay.
So this is an incubated project from SynFutures, and it was built completely using the SynFutures infrastructure. Of course, it has its own brand, its own look, and its own unique feature set. And it's deployed on the Monad blockchain, but it's based on what we've built with SynFutures for the last 4 or 5 years. And so this is an example of what builders can build with the SynFutures Builder program. And we're now starting to get interest from everything from other exchanges who want to expand their perp features to even wallets who want to offer spot or perp trading right from their interface.
Wow, there's a lot of things going on in your team.
A lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then we also would like to know then, how would you describe the project progress so far and in like long-term vision goal as well? You guys like accomplished already like so many things.
And there's so much more to do.
Of course.
So looking back on the last few years, it's definitely been an exciting time. But I think everything we've done has brought us to, like, we're so close to breaking into the mainstream as a DeFi product.
Yeah.
You know, we mentioned the user experience challenges. Those are slowly getting solved. People are figuring out how to get more out of the chains they work on. So for us, that means we're spinning out our own chain to customize a user experience that's more centralized exchange-like. I think going forward, the real goal is how do we get this in front of not just crypto native users, but in front of like the mainstream audience, even older demographics, right? Because they are usually the most active participants in TradFi markets.
And they're the one who has money. So.
Exactly. Well, yeah, that's true. Hopefully, we can create more opportunities, not just through these derivatives markets, but we do plan to integrate more decentralized financial features. So things like lending, yield vaults, which means like you deposit money and it generates some interest for you. And we look for more opportunities to create more financial incentives for our users. You know, we've done a lot already. We've processed hundreds of billions in cumulative trading volume to date, but we're at a stage where we're evolving as a project. We're moving into the infrastructure side, but we're also starting to aggregate all different kinds of financial services.
Wow. We can really look forward for SynFutures futures ahead. And also, Korea has been a key market for both traditional finance and digital asset scene. So how do you view the Korean market, and you have any words for our Korean viewers here?
Yeah, so the Korean market is very exciting because Koreans are pretty savvy investors. I think they're extremely active, not just in digital asset markets, but also in TradFi markets. And I've been looking recently at the data, and Korean activity in US equities has shot up significantly in the last year or two. Another reason the Korean market is interesting is I think it has one of the highest crypto adoption rates in the world. So I looked at a report by the 5 major centralized exchanges here, and they reported about 16 million unique registered accounts in Korea.
Wow.
That's more than almost a third of the population. So when I think about the Korean market, the awareness and adoption for crypto is quite high. But I think about what are the opportunities in Korea. So I think the opportunity is people know crypto and people buy and trade crypto. But do they really know what they're buying? You know, and are they taking full advantage of the on-chain ecosystem, meaning the blockchain technology that's out there, to create more financial opportunities for themselves? So one of our goals at SynFutures is to kind of help educate users and help guide these crypto-aware audience into the on-chain economy to create more opportunities for them, right? And one of the ways we're doing that, this is just a preview, so we haven't really put out any information yet, but we're launching as an independent project this offline community hub focused on education, research, and community. And the goal of this is we want to create a more sophisticated audience out of the Korean market. And I think it's going to be a win-win, not just for projects like us, but for Korean traders as a whole. So for everyone watching, I hope you guys will follow our journey. We have a lot coming up on the education side, and we have some exciting initiatives to kind of help guide Korean users into on-chain power users.
지금까지 마크리 공동 창립자와 함께 신퓨처스 프로젝트의 비전에 대한 깊은 이야기를 나눠봤습니다. 탈중앙화 파생 거래 속에 담긴 투자 철학을 들어보니까 이 신퓨처스는 단순히 선물 거래 디파이 그 이상일지도 모르겠다라는 생각이 듭니다. 오늘 좋은 말씀 해주신 마크리 공동 창립자님 진심으로 감사드립니다. Thank you so much for being here today. 네, 오늘 저희가 준비한 소식은 여기까지입니다. 코인 인사이트는 앞으로도 여러분의 투자 인사이트에 도움을 드릴 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다. 시청해주신 여러분 고맙습니다.